What is going on, guys? Dino Bam Bam here with the 10-7 MMA. Happy to be back in your lives with another edition of the MMA Casuals Guide. In this episode, we will be covering an absolutely massive card in UFC 295, Prochazka versus Pereira. Let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into this absolutely insane main event. We will, as always, start with the red corner. My personal favorite fighter on the planet, friend of the channel. He follows us on Instagram at the107MMA. You know who I'm talking about, the Czech Republic's Jiri Prochazka. Jiri Prochazka is back after a long layoff and ready to reclaim the UFC light heavyweight championship that he never lost. Jiri was injured late last year going into his rematch with then number one contender Glover Teixeira. The injury, according to Dana White, was one of the worst shoulder injuries he had ever seen, though not much about the injury has been documented or disclosed. Jiri's last fight was all the way back at UFC 275 back in June of last year, where in a Fight of the Year contender, Jiri submitted Glover Teixeira to become the UFC's 205-pound champion. Jiri has a very fan-friendly, unorthodox style. He is a powerful striker who truly lives a samurai lifestyle. UFC fans have been waiting for his comeback, and what a comeback it promises to be. In order to regain his title, he has to go through another powerful striker in Brazil's Alex Pereira. Alex Poatan Pereira looks to join an exclusive club by becoming only the 9th fighter in UFC history to become a champion in 2 different weight classes. The former middleweight champion has moved up to light heavyweight after his back-to-back fights with his rival, Israel Adesanya. In his last fight at 205 pounds, he defeated another former champion in Jan Blachowicz in a somewhat controversial decision. Alex Pereira is a former 2-division champion in Glory Kickboxing, so while he is somewhat new to MMA, Poatan has accomplished this feat in kickboxing. Just to give you guys some history as to why this matchup is being made, after Jiri's injury, he had to vacate the title. A title fight was made in December of last year between Magomed Ankalaev and Jan Blachowicz. That fight went all 5 rounds and was scored a draw. UFC President Dana White was not happy with the fight or the decision. He decided to rebook a title fight the next month between former champion Glover Teixeira and Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. Hill ended up winning that fight via decision. It looked like we were heading towards a Jamal Hill versus Jiri Prochazka fight to essentially unify the title, but then Jamal Hill ended up tearing his Achilles, so we find ourselves here. The division is in a very weird place, and it'll be nice to finally have some closure and have some stability in this division. The co-main event will be another banger title fight as 2 big boys will fight for interim heavyweight gold. We're going to see the Russian Sergei Pavlovich take on England's Tom Aspinall. This fight, as I mentioned, is for interim gold because the GOAT and current heavyweight king John Bones Jones was injured and had to pull out of his fight with former champion Stipe Miocic. That fight was originally scheduled to be the main event of this card, but here we are. Let's start with the red corner, the Russian powerhouse, Sergei Pavlovich. Sergei Pavlovich is an 18-1 heavyweight who is on a 6-fight UFC win streak, all of which were ended in the very first round. Pavlovich wastes no time. The Russian boxer is looking to knock his opponent's head off at all times, with wins over names like Curtis Blades, Tai Tuivasa, and the Black Beast Derek Lewis. Pavlovich, to many fans, is the most deserving heavyweight contender at this current time. While we don't get to see too much of Sergei Pavlovich because his fights end so early, he does have some experience in Russian combat sambo, so we know at least his ground game is a bit developed. The one loss on his record was against Alistair Overeem a couple years back, and Overeem was able to slow the Russian down with a heavy clinch attack. He eventually took it to the ground and finished off Pavlovich. It seems like that's the route to victory, even though it's definitely not going to be easy for his opponent, the Englishman, Tom Aspinall. Manchester's Tom Aspinall is one of the most well-rounded heavyweight prospects we have seen in many, many years. He is the total package. Good stand-up game, good wrestling, good jiu-jitsu. Tom Aspinall has it all. Before injuring his knee against Curtis Blades last July, the 30-year-old Aspinall was on a very impressive 8-fight win streak. He bounced back earlier this year with a very impressive first-round TKO over Poland's Marcin Tybura. Aspinall looks to become the UFC's first English-born champion in history. Before we see this co-main event, there are some fights and some fighters you definitely have to know about on this card. The feature fight between two tough Brazilian women, as former strawweight champion Jessica Andrade is back and looking to rebound off of her current 3-fight losing streak. She's going to be taking on the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu ace in 30-year-old Mackenzie Dern. The American grappler out of Philly, Pat Sabatini. He's taken on the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist Diego Lopes. We're going to see the UFC's 14th ranked lightweight, New York's own Matt the Steamroller Frevola. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He's going to be taking on the rising French prospect and former French Special Forces fighter, Benoit Saint-Denis. We're also going to see Loopy Godinez, the undefeated Tajik Eagle Nurullo Aliev, Nazim Sadykhov, Slava Claus Viacheslav Borshchev, a fun fight between Jared Gordon and Olympic medalist O Madsen, and guys, of course, another great friend of the channel, an absolute our boy here at D107 MMA is back for his second turn in the octagon. I'm of course talking about Denis Buzukja. Guys, UFC 295 Prochazka versus Pereira should be absolutely bananas. It takes place this Saturday, November the 11th at Madison Square Garden in New York City, New York. If you guys enjoyed, please do us a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. We are trying to get to 500 subs before the end of the year, and we would really appreciate if you could help us with that. You can also do like Jiri Prochazka did and follow us on Instagram at the107MMA. Once again, guys, I am Dino Bam Bam. This was the MMA Casuals Guide. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.